what better place to start than the trumpets blaring down in Port St. Lucie for the return of Edwin Diaz, who struck out the side and looked like vintage Edwin Diaz. I think you and I, but that might have been our favorite moment of being down at spring training, is watching Diaz throw BP, really leaving guys like Lindor and Pete Alonso looking back at the dugout like, what do you want me to do with this? And no surprise, Joe, Diaz looks like he hasn't lost a step at all on the mound with his big return from injury.
I mean, I got like a little bit of chills when the trumpets actually hit on TV. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a big moment for the 5th inning of a spring training game on
Yeah.
March 11th. But, just being able to see him in game action, we knew, like you said, when we were down in Port St. Lucie, we saw him throwing live BP, and he looked just like normal Edwin Diaz. And we kind of forget that, yes, he missed the whole season with a catastrophic knee injury. Like, it wasn't just, some run-of-the-mill injury that just wiped him out for a few months. Like, the patella tendon that's a gross one, as you certainly know about during football. So just how hard he worked. Yeah, exactly. So, how hard he worked to get back. And he was close to getting in game action at the end of last year. And I think if the Mets were contenders, there was an outside chance you would have seen Edwin Diaz pitch. But instead, he got an extra few months of rest. And like you said, everything just looked normal. Fastball 97 to 98. The wipeout slider was making the Marlins hitters look silly. So just a really exciting day for Edwin Diaz and for the Mets, not just on the field what he will bring, but what he's going to bring just to the clubhouse.
I completely agree, Joe. I think it's a great thing to highlight that when the Mets lost Diaz before the season even began last year, they really did in a way lose the heart and soul of the team. And there are so many layers to that with Diaz. He is one of the most beloved players in the clubhouse. When you talk to everybody, and it's everybody, it's players on the Mets, it's people that cover the Mets, it's the organization as a whole. I mean, there's a reason, Joe. They made this guy the highest paid reliever at the time before the free agency that year. They wanted Diaz to be a part of this organization no matter what. The dominance on the field, it speaks for itself. We don't really need to even go into that because we talk about Edwin Diaz's dominance every week on the show, and we're lucky we get to do that. But I do think in sports, what isn't analyzed enough anymore in this era of analytics, which is more quantifiable, is emotion. And I think with Diaz, there is something to the emotion of the ballpark at Citi Field when the trumpets blare. When the Mets get through 7 innings and know if they are in trouble in the final 2 innings, whether it's the 8th or the 9th, because we saw Buck really lean on him in the 8th plenty of times in 2022, that they have a guy that gets out of it almost every single time. And there just aren't many guys in sports that have that ability. And I think that it kind of spread a different confidence throughout this team in 2022 that they were clearly lacking in 2023.